What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to take a little bit of a look at the very first Digimon card that has gone and been revealed from EX-01, that special set which is going to be coming around in a little bit. We knew it was coming, we've talked about it on this channel in recent days, but now we've got an actual factual card that has gone and been revealed from it. It is MetalaGarurumon. Now, of course, the first thing to note here, this is, as promised, as advertised, a card, and it's a new card. New effect, all of it. I mean, it's a blue MetalaGarurumon. We've seen a bunch of blue MetalaGarurumon, but this is a blue MetalaGarurumon unlike any blue MetalaGarurumon we've seen so far. But it has artwork that harkens back to the old Digimon trading card game, or at least one of them. So the question is it any good? How excited are we? Well, let's take a gander, shall we? Translation here from the lovely folks at Ensan Gaming. So what we've got here is an 11 cost to play normally, 4 cost to Digivolve, 12,000 power, which makes it a little bit more expensive, but also a little bit more powerful. We expect 11 free 11, we get 11 4 12, so yeah, about right. When you Digivolve into this Digimon, you gain 1 memory for each 4 cards in your hand. So if you've got 4, 5, 6 or 7 cards in your hand, you gain 1 memory. If obviously fewer than 4, you gain none. If you've got 8, 9, 10, 11 cards in hand, you gain 2 memory. 12, 13, 14, 15, you gain 3 memory, and so on, although honestly gaining more than 2 here would be unlikely. And I've said on this channel a number of times, when we've seen cards along these lines, it's quite difficult a lot of the time to actually build up a big hand of cards. But if you're gonna do it, blue is the way to go. You've got Uppermon, which would clearly be your Digitarmor of choice. When you attack, you get to draw a card. We've got the Cordramon that came in the All Force Vidramon starter deck. When you play it, you get to draw 2 cards. And I've seen some lists recently, there's going to be one I'm featuring on the channel in the next few days, where even though it's not necessarily all built around that, they're playing enough of these cards to take advantage. I mean, in the starter deck, it's 8 cards in your hand. We'll get there in a moment. But we play enough of those cards that we do expect to be able to pull it off. In which case, you Digivolve into it, and essentially you get 2 memory back. So it turns into a Digimon that you are paying 2 to Digivolve. Now, if you're telling me that this Digimon is 11 cost to play normally, 2 cost to Digivolve, 12,000 power, I love 2 cost to Digivolve, 12,000 power. Incidentally, it is more powerful than any other of the blue MetalaGarurumon. They've all had 11,000 power up till now. So this is kind of cool. You've got to have a decent hand size. To be fair, if you've got 4 cards in hand, which a lot of the time you will, then you're Digivolving for a free cost and it becomes 11 free 12, which is standard cost, slightly higher power. So this is all right. This is all well and good. It's not bad, but it's not a reason to play the card. When you attack, if you have 8 or more cards in your hand, that's back, and a Tamer in play, you may choose one of your opponent's Digimon that has a when deleted effect and put it to the bottom of their deck, trashing any evolution sources. Now, in terms of having a Tamer, we're not particularly worried about having a Tamer here, because the fact of the matter is, we want to have as many cards in our hand as we can, so we want as many different options as we've got to draw cards. So, yeah, we're going to want to play some kind of Tamer that can draw cards. Now, in terms of ones that can actually draw you cards moderately regularly, we've got Matashida. When your Digimon with Gabumon or Garurumon and its name moves from the breeding area to the battle area, you gain a memory and draw a card. Honestly, that sounds pretty gosh darned awesome to me. And then we've got the promo Taichi V Tamer, whereby if you have a Digimon with Vmon in its name, you can, once during your turn, rest it to draw a card. So we got 1 for Garurumon decks and 1 for Vidramon decks. Obviously, the fact that you are a MetalaGarurumon here probably tells you to some degree which way you should be leaning in terms of which of those trainers or tamers to go for. But the point is, the whole deal with cards like this is you've got to fill your hand as fast as you can. Shout out to DigimonCard.dev for the translated proxies, I should say. Those dudes are awesome. So you might as well be playing a tamer which can draw you at least a card every turn. Or I suppose in the case of Madashida, one every other turn. But still, drawing cards regularly. So the whole having to have a tamer as well, I'm not worried about. Having 8 cards in hand, I am. You know, take things like Gabumon. Gabumon's a great card. It draws you a card when you play it. But remember, you're playing it. So you're not actually really gaining a card. You are replacing the Gabumon you played. Now, the Cordramon, you drop 1 card, draw 2. That will leave you up. But it really is going to be things like the Tamers and Uppermon that you're going to need to use to build up your hand to the stage where you've got 8 cards in hand. But let's assume for a moment you're able to pull that off. Well, we've got... Let's say for argument's sake you can keep 8 cards in hand reliably. You've got a 2-cost to Digivolve, 12,000 power Digimon, and the average level 6 is 11,000, so you'll break the power tie with them. And then, basically every time you attack, you get to take an opponent's Digimon with a when deleted effect and whack it on the bottom of their deck. So then I suppose we need to go and have a look and go, well, hang on a second, how many of these Digimon have a when deleted effect? I don't know, like 65 odd. There are a bunch of them. But you know, you got things like Impmon. On deletion, trash the top 3 cards of your deck. I mean, it'll get it off the field. It will take that skill away from them. It will be mildly annoying for your opponent. But I think it's fair to say this is maybe not what you're dreaming of when you're using this skill. But how about, I don't know, top of me head, Chaosmon Valderam. You see, that seems like a far better use of it. Chaosmon Valderam is a very good level 7 Digimon that sees a bunch of play in yellow decks, and some green as well. And on deletion, you gain free memory. Now, it's got a great Digivolving skill. You basically twice take 7,000 power from a Digimon, and that can be 14,000 from one or 7,000 from two. It's up to you. But even after it's Digivolved and used that skill, it's still a 14,000 power Digimon that gains free memory when deleted. It's still an extremely good Digimon. If you can get rid of things like that, you are going to have a very, very nice time here. But there are so many ifs with this card. If you can have 8 cards in hand, if you can have a tamer in play, if your opponent is playing Digimon that have deletion skills. Because honestly, you know, we could go back and talk about Millenniummon. Millenniummon still pops up in a few decks here and there. So that's a Digimon with a nice deletion skill that lets you replay it when it gets deleted, which is clearly a phenomenal skill. It sees play here and there. It does pop up in a bunch of decks. But is Millenniummon really terrifying enough here? I'm not entirely convinced that it is. Now, we do have the Ancients from BT4, your Ancient Greymon and your Ancient Garurumon, both of which let you play a card for free when they are deleted, and they do have a chance to be very, very good decks moving forward. Similarly, we could talk about Omnimon's Wart D, which is a very nice level 7 that could punish your opponent. There are good Digimon with good deletion skills, but I don't think they are enough of the metagame to really make me worry about it at the moment. Now, maybe in the future they will be, and then we can have another very different conversation. But I think as it stands at the moment, it's too awkward, frankly. There's too many things going on here, and I don't know if it's going to work for me. Now, weirdly enough, the MetalaGarurumon from BT5, when you Digivolve, if this Digimon has a Digimon card with Garurumon in its name in its Digivolution cards, you return one of your opponent's Digimon with an on-deletion skill to the bottom of their deck. So we've actually seen this skill on MetalaGarurumon before. And on the one hand, it's a one-shot deal. On the other hand, so much easier to use. You've just got to Digivolve it from a Garurumon, or a Were-Garurumon, or something along those lines. And although it's a one-shot, a lot of the time, using this once to get rid of one of your opponents, or maybe probably their only big level 7 Digimon, that might be enough. So I'm not sure how much I like this MetalaGarurumon. It's a super rare, and it's very cool, and it's the first card we see from this new set. This is all lovely. But the fact of the matter is, I've got to have 8 cards in hand and a tamer, and then if my opponent's not playing Digimon with deletion skills, it's kind of rubbish anyway. Whereas I think I would be far happier just using the MetalaGarurumon from BT5 and going, look, I'll play like a couple of these, and I've got other level 6s I'm relying on, and if my opponent actually does take advantage of these Digimon with deletion skills, then I'll just Digivolve up into this and use my Digivolution skill to counter them. So I'm going to give it 3 Wassies. I don't think it's a terrible card. I think it's very powerful. You can end up with a pretty cheap card of above average power with a decent skill. But for me, we've got the other MetalaGarurumon, and frankly, we've got too many ifs, buts, and maybes. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. But hey, I'd love for you to disagree with me. I'd love for you to tell me why I'm wrong and this card is, in fact, absolutely brilliant. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassie. That's where we talk Digimon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wassie Plays.